with your help, what we want to do is to buy some land in the Wellington region that we could put 6 homes on. Buying land when the opportunity arises is one of our biggest challenges. What we would do with those 6 homes is that 4 of them would be for long-term affordable rentals, and we would rent them to a diverse range of people. Some people on benefits, some people earning low incomes, some earning higher incomes. Now, the reason that we do that is A, to create the mixed communities that are more successful, and B, is to create the income to support the debt that we will have. The other thing that we will do with the other 2 homes is to sell them to first home buyers. And the proceeds from those sales will fund the rental homes. Depending on finances, maybe we can do a shared home ownership scheme where the trust will remain partly an owner and the homeowner will own the rest of the property. The thing that is important to us too is that we build homes from sustainable materials, that we use lifetime design features as well. Like with any of the projects that we've done before, we will leverage the contributions from many individuals and companies within the community. An example at the moment is that our architects who are working on our current projects discount their fees and use our project as training options for their staff. So what would the role of a social lender be in all of this? There are various scenarios where a social lender could be part of the scheme. Community and affordable housing is created by combining public and private resources, and we think it's a wonderful example of social enterprise. So what we're asking you today is to enter into a relationship with us that will grow our organisation, meet some of the housing need, and change the lives of people. So let's make it happen.
Thank you, Alison from the Wellington Housing Trust. Dragons, you have some questions.
How would you work with other partners? You mentioned other partners and other options of funding. How do you make that work?
You mean investors, or? Because I mean the range of partners that we have are quite extensive, really. Okay. We work with other social service agencies that provide the support that people need. In terms of investors, I mean, really, there are lots of options for people to partner with the trust. You know, we could work with the developer, say. They build like 10 houses, we take 6 of them. You know, different investors have different needs. So there's quite a lot of options about how people can partner together. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thanks.
Alison, obviously you've got a really long track record, and
yes.
Those of us in this room from Wellington are aware of what you've done for many years. The question when I read your application was, why do you need this money?
I think the thing is that we've got debt already, and we do kind of what I'm describing, but we could have hundreds of millions of dollars worth of debt and still not be meeting the housing need. When you talk about housing, you're talking about lots of money, and we need to grow to meet the need, and we need different partners. We can't just rely on government. Government funding, especially today, is not guaranteed. It's very insecure. It's year by year. We're trying to find different ways of doing what we need to do.
Okay, thanks.
You mentioned in response to a question of what money are you applying for, and that was to buy land, and the overall project though is to build and to sell on and rent out. Mm-hmm. What is the total cost of the building project in total, not just the land? Has that been scoped up?
Yeah, that's a very good question. It's lots of money. Is that enough? We're looking at a $2 million project, really. We're building 4 homes at the moment that are costing us $1.2 million to build. Mm-hmm. So if you add another 2 on that, we're building houses for around $350 each. So, you know, we're getting up to $1.8, $2 million. Okay, yeah.
Great. Yeah. And so where would the balance of that funding come from?
Another Yeah, I mean, what we're asking really, I mean, what we're saying is that we have the option to actually generate some income by selling some of the houses, and that's at the settlement time. What we have to get through is the land purchase and the construction, and that's the big challenge for us. So we have to ask an investor or a bank to take the risk for that period really, unless government is in that phase as well. So we have several options. We can make it work once the houses are all built, so we need someone to take that risk. Otherwise, we ask government for that funding.
You've got quite a healthy balance sheet with a good debt-equity ratio. Why don't you gear some of your equity now, or what prevents you from gearing some of the equity you have to fund this?
It's about somebody being willing to take the risk, really. Banks have really pulled in quite tight, although, I mean, people might be aware that the government are signalling changes in the social housing scene, and if that does happen, I think we'll have banks knocking on our door, and it's kind of starting to happen now. But still, we charge reduced rentals, so still they're very cautious, really, about that cash flow. So it's about someone taking the risk, I guess. But, I mean, we do, as you say, we have the equity. Yeah.
You've got a social lender here, so it's a case of pitching the idea in terms that the lender can lend on. Lending on land alone doesn't work because it produces no revenue.
Yeah.
But lending on a completed project does, and that's what I think you need to put into your proposal for someone like Prometheus to be able to consider it going forward.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Yep. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Alison. Thanks to everyone who participated today. The first prize of $1,000 cash plus $4,000 consultancy, second prize of $500 cash plus $1,000 consultancy, and the third prize of $500 cash plus consultancy will be announced just before the plenary 5 at 4 p.m, with the actual prizes awarded at the conference dinner. Many thanks to Prometheus Finance Limited with support from InWork and Mindspring. Also thanks to our wonderful judges. A round of applause please for them. They've been quite insightful. On the table in front of you is a bottle of number 29 olive oil adorned with a bookmark that states...
Put it on the floor, yes.
It's behind, there we go.
Behind us.
You've already taken it off. Thank you very much. Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you. Okay. So now we...
Now, I'll keep this very brief, and my apologies for not having these results to you before this plenary space as promised. But there's been, as can happen when you're dealing with judges, and particularly dragons, they make up their own rules and walk to their own tune. Now, we had 4 entrants per category. We've got 8 people in the room. We have, and I just think that we're really... tonight we'll give away the awards at the dinner, so I just sort of don't want to steal the thunder, and there too we'll have had some time to collate a little bit of feedback for each of you and really give a bit more info as to how we chose and what we chose. So I'm really just going to run through quickly now category 1, which was sowing the seeds, and this was the social enterprise category sponsored by J.R. Mackenzie Trust and Westpac with a first prize of $5,000. In third place was Ryan Giese with his wildlife application. In second place, all the way from Wellington, was Seth Hickling with his communities idea. And the winner of the $5,000 cheque from Westpac is Guy Ryan with Inspiring Stories. And as I say, we'll have a bit more information come dinner time on that one. And we'll have a big fat cheque too, Guy. Second category, watering the grassroots. This was around social lending, thanks to Sue Cooper, Mindspring and InWork to make that happen. And this was the troublesome bunch. And it's a little unusual. But they're all unusual. In third place, we have the Falling Apple Tree Trust. And they'll be winning $500 cash and $1,000 worth of consultative support. So essentially 8 hours of expertise from Prometheus Finance to work with them on the idea that they pitched. Second place, and this is the problem, there isn't one. We have tied first place, and it was pretty tough, and this is what took the time. We have tied first place, Changeability, Janice Walsh, and the Wellington Housing Trust, Alison Cadman. Now, I was gunning for 2 second places and no first because we didn't have enough prizes. But the judges said they can just make up the rules and do what they like. Well, there was one there that said, can we do that? And I just looked at her and said, well, and then someone else said, we can do what we want. So this has meant that Sue Cooper from Prometheus has had to step up her support of this event, and she's offering another whole 8 hours of expertise and consultative support so that we can have enough support for the 2 winners. Flip side of that is they don't get as much cash. So we have 2 $750 prizes for both of those winners. Thank you. So see you all at dinner.
That's great, and it's nice to see the innovation, even though it's a little challenging and testing in the rush. Please, if you are coming to the dinner tonight, we will be those awards will be handed out, and you'll hear a lot more about those particular projects. I'd now like to invite you. We have the dinner in this room here from 7 o'clock. We have the